All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to talk about. We have a crazy week ahead filled with a bunch of data. But before I get into any of that, why I got the Swiss passport in the cash, man, the bank stocks are coming back, okay? I want to talk about a play, FRC. It's kind of like an arbitrage trade, but that is part of some of the events that are coming up this week. We are about to hear from the banks. I know it's been over a month now, but not only is earnings getting started with the banks, but we are going to get updates from these banks and hear a lot about what happened. Even today, there was some bank updates, but there's going to be a lot of plays there. I'm going to go over the FRC, and then I got this bonsai tree. It looked cool. Honestly, I don't know, maybe that's the effects of doing an interview with Hugh. If you didn't check that out, go take a look, man. I will put it in the description. It was an awesome interview. If you didn't have the time, you're going to want to talk about it, but I just thought it looked cool. And I got SDSU, man. Final four. I'm like a little late, but you know what I'm saying? But let's talk about it. So we have a lot to go over. Again, just the rest of the week, you have CPI and all of these events and the earnings and the G20. We're going to go over that briefly, but let's talk about FRC. So First Republic, if you remember, we've been talking about this one since like week number 2. So do I think all their problems are over? No, but I do think there is going to be an opportunity for a lot to happen when we get their update. But pretty much their earnings is going to be in 2 weeks. So it's not going to be this week. You're going to pretty much have like a week to burn some time. But as all of these banks start reporting updates and we get their deposit numbers, I am assuming that a lot of them are going to start moving. So the best example is WAL. If you don't remember this was last week. They gave an update on their deposits, even though they dropped 10% in a month. People were excited because it wasn't as bad as feared, and then it kind of had its reaction, and it looks like it's staying pinned until we get the bank earnings. So JP Morgan and I think Citigroup are going to be on Friday, but now what I'm saying is that these regional banks, especially FRC, the reason why I like it is that it hasn't moved at all, and pretty much it's at like $13, $14. I bought 100 shares today at like $14.02. None of this is a recommendation, and really the way I'm looking at it, it's a very short distance to 100%. If it goes back to 28%, if it does what Wall does and the data and the update is good, I think it'll go up 50 to 100%. If you buy FRC, the update is bad and it panics people, that B word is going to zero. I was going to S word, that S word. Okay, I don't really cuss on the watch list too much, but point is, it's a really high risk, high reward play. So I'm calling it arbitrage, but the way I'm looking at it, it's very simple. FRC, that thing is either going to go to zero after this update in the next 2 weeks and in a response to the other bank earnings, or it could easily hit 100%. So wanted to give you that one, wanted to start off with it. Why? Because again, banks will be reporting on Friday, but now let's talk a little bit about today and the rest of the week, because this was pretty wild, man. So we had the holiday, the market was closed on Friday. Today, most of the world was closed, so Europe didn't have a trading session. I think Canada ended up having one, so shout out to hockey. But we opened up, it was very negative. People were not really feeling too good. Remember, we were coming off of the non-farm payrolls, which ended up being good, but it's not like we had any other news that was like, again, related to the Fed. Everything else was driven by headlines from Apple. We found out that their PC orders dropped 40%, but then the chip makers went up when we heard that Samsung is cutting their memory chips. So Micron and all of those, they ended up loving that. Then China stocks, they were down because the Chinese government warned about AI and speculation. But as you see, there's a lot of these different things. Again, monetary policy was a big focus because the non-farms pretty much said that the Fed could raise rates one more time. And by the end of the day, we ended up bouncing. It was like right around here. There was a headline. This is related to the banks. It was the FHLB, the Federal Home Loan Bank or Lending Bank. But this is like the lender of last resort. There was news that the activity plummeted, and that was kind of when we got these updates from the Fed that inflation expectations were going down, and then everything started going up. And then pretty much by the end of the day, the way people were explaining it is that the market isn't afraid of rate hikes, one more. That's the narrative of today. So thought it was interesting, but that's what sets us up with such an interesting week. And what I've been saying all day is that we are actually going to get a lot, even though it's only pricing in like 1.4%. Now we got to wait. Friday bank earnings, that's going to be the cherry on top. But now tomorrow we have nothing. We're going to kind of wait and see. Rest of the world is going to open up. Again, bond yields have been moving a lot too, and people are going to respond. Even today, the market responded to Japan, Bank of Japan, the new governor Ueda. He made comments about pretty much saying they're not going to do anything anytime soon, and that led to some weakness. But overall, that was like the only international activity. It was all about the U.S. today. Tomorrow, we're going to see how everything opens. There's not going to be data, but then Wednesday morning, the CPI. I'll give you a breakdown and an expectation tomorrow, but that's going to be the biggest event. That's what's going to have people looking at things. If anything is going to change the narrative today, or if anything is going to get people to really focus on the banks or not focus on them as much, it's going to be the CPI, because depending on if that comes in hotter or softer, believe it or not, people are using that to come up with their determination for the odds of a recession. I mean, we're already in April, but this back and forth, that latest ISM data, the latest PCE, they have been using that to increase or decrease the odds of recession. So however CPI plays out, it's going to feed into the new narrative. It'll feed into whether the market will get rate hikes or not, if bonds are going to move, and then how the market's going to take it. So that will be the big event. Ended with Friday with the bank stocks, but now also I think tomorrow and then maybe even Thursday, you are going to get the IMF, the World Council, the International Monetary Fund. They're going to go to Washington. You're going to get a bunch of headlines, and I believe you're even getting the G20 members. They're also going to be meeting up too. So that's the whole breakdown of this week. And then after this week, we then get into the rest of earnings. Then there's going to be a couple more ISM and then like services and real estate data. Then there's a PCE right before, but then 3 weeks from now, almost 2.5, depending, well, after we finish this week. So about 3 full weeks. Then you get the Fed and Jerome Powell. And then, man, by that point, it's sell in May and go away, Chad. So it's going to be wild, but that's the breakdown. Again, today had a lot of back and forth. Don't get caught up in trying to explain it all. If you haven't noticed, we're really not moving as much anymore. The market's still at the same spot since 2021. I know we don't talk about that, but hopefully you see what I'm saying here. Until we get through these events, every data set, it's going to change a lot. And like I've been doing now, I've been trying to get to neutral. So as far as even plays, I cut a lot of things. Our LMT went green. I sold that. EBS, I sold it out too early. A lot of names, pretty much, if they're going green, I'm trying to get rid of them. I'm trying to hold a little bit for extra time, and I should have on most of them, even like WWE. We got out of that with a nice profit. But one thing I closed out today was the bonds. So I think leading into CPI, a lot could happen. I think the bonds have moved a lot. As much as I've been loving bonds lately, the way I'm looking at it, I think we're going to get another opportunity to pretty much go back and forth. So I want to flip out of it, see if I could end up getting better prices, let any of the data rush through, and then pretty much I'm hoping in the next 3 weeks I could reposition into bonds by Powell. So other than that, going to be watching the bank stocks. I grabbed Hexo for some stupid buyout, got scammed there. I think we lost like 30 cents a share. Then MBRX, I believe. I have to double check, or MCRB. I'm going to post it on here when I edit it. But I ended up fat fingering 500 shares. I only wanted like 200, but they got a PDUFA in a couple of weeks. And let me know if you watch this far, comment below. Maybe we have to sit down and make a PDUFA video, because I already took a brief look already for April, and it's a pretty active schedule that we have with biotech. So we'll see where any of that goes, but that's pretty much going to be it. Trying to get to neutral, even trimmed a little bit of the bonds. I still got like my NQ short. Going to try to get rid of other things as they start moving in those directions, and hopefully be a little bit clearer till Powell. And then hopefully after Powell, we really get some guidance coming into the middle of the year, Chad. I know. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure Hydrate Healthy ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. Oh, I need you to remember that just because you could know what is going to happen, it may not play out exactly how you expect. You always got to stay on your toes. It is all about surviving until the moment. Even if you are armed with information, you got to be prepared to respond. So go watch the interview. Go watch. You know what I'm saying. I'm telling you that Philo blew my mind, bro. He told the disciples, and even though they knew, they didn't know. And then when they don't feel me. So Chad, I love you. God bless all of you. And thank you all again too, man. For real, this community, I said it many times already. It's already a joy, and we've been doing it for years, man. But like I'm saying, y'all are going through history right now. We got something beautiful. The fact that we can share it with each other and you could bounce ideas, man, and you're able to see all of it. And I mean, we've already witnessed many moments throughout the year. So I just want to say thank you, but I hope you are also picking up from it and learning and taking it all in, Chad. Okay, don't let me go too crazy, but I love you. God bless you. I'll see you in the morning, and that's it. Am I awkward? I gave you a thank you. Am I getting awkward again? I've already said thank you. Is this okay? I shouldn't. If I ended it, it wouldn't. Okay, I'm leaving. I love you.